No, we were. Huh? No. We're not starting over. As we finish it, we're just looking at the first Mishnah. Matkifin Aschol la Shloma. We're not starting again. We're just finished. So we're looking at the first Mishnah. This is shaykhs to the sugya that we learned the Shabbos and for the halachas here before Mincha. Now we're going to move on, but we did, the halachas of Mincha, Maidim, Shalamit, and Krishma, Shalarvis. So a little bit bored to be a ma'ayin in the sugya. We learned the Mishnah, the Rashi, the Tosfos. The Mishnah says that the Mishnah says when the going in to eat truma, which the Gemara is going to say means tzetzek yechov, which means tzetzek yechov. So when the 3 stars come out, the Gemara says in Shabbos Tafel 3 medium stars, not the big ones, not the small ones, the 3 medium stars. That's when you could start saying Krishma Shalarvis. The problem is that wasn't the done thing in Europe. The Mishnah that says, the first paragraph, the first Masechta, and the first Mishnah, that you read Shema at night from Tzezek Echad. But that's not what we're doing. My brother has his shveh. So Rabbi Yankel, you remember he used to collect, Rabbi Yankel Begela, Rabbi Yankel Friedman used to collect money.
That's his shveh?
He was that was his shveh. So my brother shveh. So he was a mamish, he was a person of the heart of gold. He lived through such a difficult life and he always collected stuff. It was not for him, he was to give for moistus, and he also had a gemach. So, but some people didn't pay back. So he asked the son-in-law, maybe you can help me out. And he was more of a feisty guy. So he said he was a person, and he was asking for the gemach to pay back. So he said, the guy said, it's not a minhag. Our minhag is not to pay back. And the minhag is mevatel halacha. There's an expression, the minhag is mevatel halacha. No, so he says, so I told him, but it's halacha, you have to pay back. He said, no, but it says minhag mevatel halacha. So the minhag, the halacha is the minhag.
Now, somebody once asked, there are 2 forms. This is my first case. I'm not sure the right name. But someone says, Rav, one under a fat. Well, this is by prosable. There's a form in Yiddish, there's a form in English. They asked which one to fill out. And he said, well, the English speakers pay back their money.
Good. So that's what all the Rishonim have a problem. First Mishnah, first paragraph. One of the first mitzvahs of Tayag mitzvahs to read Shema night in the morning. How come we're not doing it? They used to not do it. In Europe, they used to not do it. The mitzvah of reading Shema, but says like a they had a minyan. The regular minyanim were earlier. The regular minyanim was earlier than Tzezek Yechavim.
So they did not read
Shema later. That's what we're going to get to. Right, we're going to get to it. So, the Shulchan Aruch actually paskins that a person has to daven Siman Reish Lamed Hey has to say Krishma Bezmana. But the Ramah brings that it's our minhag, the Ashkenazim, that they daven earlier. So what should we do for the Ashkenazim that daven earlier? So there's a Rashi, and there's a Tosfos, and there's a Rosh, and there's a Rabbeinu Yoina. And it's Punkt Ashgacha Pratis yesterday, the day before, I was reading something from someone. We'll get to that soon, and I think it's a big mistake, so we'll get to that as well. Okay. So let's learn it. Let's learn the Mishnah. You have to realize, why were they davening Ma'ariv early?
Because they were scared about the animals.
There could be many reasons, but in the most Ashkenaz Jews living in countries that, especially in the summer, Seisek Echavim is very late. It's very late. In Europe, Seisek Echavim is very late. Right, and my brother's nuts. In the summer, you can have Seisek Echavim at 11:30. And you could have, according to some calendars, if over here in the Beis Menachem Mendel, if we kept the Beis Menachem Mendel calendar in Moscow, we'd be making Havdalah 12:30 in the summer.
And they come 3 o'clock.
Right. So you have to understand that this is crazy. And in France, my brother would tell me he was in Shlichus there in Brunois. So Lubavitch, okay, we're not to always read Krias Shema after Tzezek Echam. So he says, like in the summer, could you imagine they're making Kiddush not earlier than 10:30, usually about 11 o'clock. Could you imagine you start the meal, you make Shalom Aleichem Alachei Hashodes 11 o'clock at night. Yeah, so you finish the meal at 1 o'clock.
We've done this.
You're from Russia, you're from Moscow, so you know this.
You take a nap a little bit then by day. You prepare everything, take an hour, 2 hours nap. It's like with kids, we're taking nap, the adults dinner. But, and then 11 o'clock we'll get up for Kiddush and the meal.
It's crazy. My brother told me he just had the Shavuos, so he invited people. You're not allowed to have a mincha yet. It's not plaga mincha. So I'm sorry, you're not allowed to have a ma'ariv yet. It's not plaga mincha. So he invited people to his house for I think it was 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, he had fruits on the table, and they said Tikkun Leil Shavuos. Then they davened mincha, and the ladies lit candles. Then, yeah, and then they kept on saying Tikkun Leil Shavuos, and they said that they had a shiur and the whole program, and then they davened Ma'ariv at 11 o'clock, or a little after 11. It was even still a little early. Then they had the meal. By the time they finished the meal, it was a loisa shachar. So you imagine that people didn't want to daven Ma'ariv that late at night.
How much night is there? Very little?
Small. Russia's bad. But I've been saying even France, in England, for example, so in the midsummer, Seisek Echavim could be after 10 o'clock at night.
But when does it get light?
It's earlier in the morning, yes.
St. Petersburg, there are some nights.
Right, the white nights. I was in St. Petersburg when it was a white night. So they had Mincha Ma'ariv at 12 o'clock in Lubavitch Shul. This you could still see the sun. You can still see the sun. Huh? That's the one city that every Lubavitcher Rebbe has been there once, at least in that city. Oh, big daily Yisrael in Petersburg.
It's really interesting when you go off the circle. You have these 6 months of light and 6 months of darkness. When the sun is 6 months, the sun is
Right, yeah, right. What are you supposed to do? It's mabish. Right.
It's a problem.
But back to why the Ashkenazim would want to daven earlier, there's no question why they would want to daven Ma'ariv earlier. I mean, this. Besides, there's other factors about shuls being maybe it's so unsafe to walk home by night. But I think this might be one very big factor why it would be different by Ashkenazim and Sephardim. Why the Sephardim live in many of the countries that the Sephardim live. It's the summer doesn't get the Seisek Echavim is not so late, so you could daven Ma'ariv and say Krias Shema but Seisek Echavim. But in many of the countries where the Ashkenazim live, the Seisek Echavim was very late.
How about chinuch for the children in that country? When they're davening and they go make Kiddush at 12 o'clock at night.
Like you heard what he said. They put the kids to sleep, they wake them up. It's not easy, right? I tell you. That's why the Ashkenazim decided let's daven early. You understand?
It's a good decision.
Okay, but the problem is that the Mishnah says you have to. Oh, so now.
problem with in Eretz Yisrael, people grow up and they think there's Erev all over.
Right.
They carry on Shabbos, and they come to America and they're carrying, and people look at them like they're Muslim, but they just don't know. They're ignorant. What do you mean there's no Erev?
Well, now there is an Erev. Whoops. I'm kidding. There is no Erev. Rabbi Heller said like this: it's not a Posel Erev. It's a mistake to say it's a Posel Erev in Crown Heights. It's not an Erev. To say it's a Posel Erev is a mistake. It can't be Posel. It's not an Erev to begin with.
These guys should put up an Erev already?
Yeah. It's Leyehudim in Crown Heights. It's Lebedik. Okay, let's learn the Mishnah. When do we reach Shema in the evening? Torah says, when you go to sleep, you have to say Shema. Zog the Mishnah, from when the Kohanim go into the Truma, which the Gemara is going to say, from Tzesek Echam. At Sefer Shmur Rishona, Divrei Elazar. Elazar says, till when? Until the first portion of the night. Until Allah Shachar. Ma'aser Ba'abonim Beis HaMishnah, his children came from a wedding. Amr Loi, look in Shema, they said we didn't reach Shema. Amr Lahen, he said, Im Loi Alam, the Shachar Chem Aman Likris. If there wasn't a Lois HaShachar, you're chayiv to read the Lois HaBelavad Al-Kol Masham Al-Chamad Chatzais. Really, all the things that Chum said to Chatzais Mitzvos, not Shalom HaShachar, the Mitzvahs until Lois HaShachar. Hektir Chalom Mevorim Mitzvos, and Shalom HaShachar. Also, the Hektir Chalom Mevorim is Chalom Mevorim Mitzvos, and Shalom HaShachar. If you have to eat it the day and the night, the carbon, you can eat the carbon all night until the Lois HaShachar. Why did the Chacham say it? The Chatzais can be Laharchik on the Ben Aveda in order to keep the person far away from the Aveda. One way of learning the Mishnah is the Chachamim are the ones that say the Chatzais, and the Gemil says you really could do it all night. Now let's learn Rashi. Name is a Kohen Shema, Ba'arvim Mishashakar Machlas. The Kohen of Shinit Mo Metavlu, Head of Shimshon, they were Tomei. They toivel. Now there has to be Head of Shimshon that the sun sets, and then by Head of Shimshon they could eat the Truma. They eat them Lechel B'Truma. So the same time that the Kohen are allowed to eat Truma, which is Seisik Echava, as the Gemara will say, is the same time that we could read Krias Shema. Ad Soif HaShmur Rishon, until the first portion of the night is done, according to the first opinion of the Mishnah, which is Shlish HaLailak, and Farash B'Gemara, Misham Ve'elach, Over Zaman, Delo Mikri, Suzman Shchiva. It's not the time when people go to sleep, like in V'Shachmach. Mekami Hochi earlier, Lav Zman Shchiva is not the time of sleeping, because no one sleeps in daytime. People take a nap, but that's not the time when people sleep.
I don't know if this is relevant as well. When ate the Truma, do they have to have special kavanas besides making bracha?
No, I don't think so. No. It was given to them. It was a gift to them. A person that reads earlier is not Yoitza. Why are we reading it? You see, Rashi is right away grappling with a question, because the child is starting to learn the Mishnah, and you're telling me that the Kishma has to be read at night. But I know when I go with my father to shul, it's not night outside. So what's going on? So Rashi says, oh, Shalom Aleichem. Came just in time. Her holding in the Rashi, the small lines, 4 lines from the top and the small line. So again, so Rashi is asking, what do you mean? It's not before the night, there's not a time to sleep. So how can we say Ma'ariv then? In order to start the tefillah with Divrei Torah, just like we say by Mincha Ashrei first, why to start with some Divrei Torah and then go into... Same thing we say by Ma'ariv Shema and the Bircha Shema, but it's nothing. It's just a lead up to Shemona Esrei. And Shemona Esrei you could read earlier, Rashi doesn't explain why, but he says, Lefikach, it's an obligation to read the Shema once it gets dark at night. And because we read Krias Shema Shalamita, so with that Krias Shema Shalamita, we're yoitz the mitzvah of reading Shema. All the Rishonim have a huge problem with this Rashi. Tosfos, the Rosh, the Ben Yoina, they have a huge problem with this Rashi for many, many, many reasons. They say, what are you talking about? The Krias Shema Shalamita, yoitza. First of all, they say Krias Shema Shalamita, we read one parsha. In order to be yoitza the mitzvah of the Torah, some opinions hold you have to read two parshas, maybe even three. But the three is the third parsha is not really for mitzvah of Krias Shema. Second shaila is, you're telling me that the Krias Shema Shalamita is the mitzvah? How could that be? The Rebbeinu Yonah says a very important chidush. The Alter Rebbe explains it very, very well. If a person, say, eats matzah and he thinks it's ice cream, he didn't realize, he thought it was, salty crackers. I thought these were the, what's it called?
Wafer.
Manashevitz tam-tams. He thought it was tam-tams, Manashevitz tam-tams. He thought it was vanilla ice cream. So, is he yoitz or not? Is machloikis, mitzvahs need to have kavanah or not? In general, we pass mitzvahs that are deraisa, you need to have kavanah. Mitzvahs that are abundant doesn't have kavanah. Alter Rebbe says this whole machloikis is only a machloikis. The Eibush said to chew matzah, and I was not chewing matzah. I was masasik. I thought I'm chewing cardboard. I didn't realize I'm chewing matzah. So the shaila is, was I yoitza or not? Do I have to have kavanah to? When the Eibush says you have to b'shach b'chav kamecha, you have to read Shema. What did the Eibush say? He didn't say there's chew up the matzah, chew up the mortar, say the Shema. There's no such thing as saying the Shema, doing the Shema. Shema means I accept Malchus Shemayim, I accept the yoke of heaven. If a person says Shema and at least the first pasuk or maybe more, he's not paying attention that he's accepting the yoke of heaven, he's not yoitza. Even if you, and that's what I'm saying, it doesn't matter if you hold the mitzvahs have to have kavanah or not. Even the opinion that says mitzvah, I can eat matzah and think it's vanilla ice cream, and I'm yoitza. Because the Eibush says to eat matzah. Okay, so I ate matzah. I chewed the matzah. I thought it was vanilla ice cream, but I thought it was matzah. But I ate the matzah. But the Eibush didn't say words. The Eibush said, accept the yoke of heaven. Accept my yoke. If you didn't have any kavanah to accept the Malchus Shemayim, you did nothing. So therefore, when the Mishnah says that you have to repeat the pasuk or more, this everyone agrees to that halacha, says the Alter Rebbe. This is based on Rebbeinu Yonah. So Rebbeinu Yonah says, wait a minute, why do we read Shema by night? We learned about the Shabbos and the halacha before Mincha. We read Shema by night to protect ourselves from the mazikin. We don't have in mind when we read Shema by night that we're reading with this Shema yoitza the mitzvah, or with this Shema we're accepting the yoke of heaven. And the Gemara even brings an opinion that a Talmud Chacham doesn't have to say Shema by night. So obviously we're not having kavanah to be yoitza the mitzvah or to accept the yoke of heaven. So how could Rashi say that's what their problem is with Rashi? Now, what is Rashi going to answer to that question? Could be Rashi holds doesn't hold like Rebbeinu Yonah. Could be Rashi holds as long as you said the words of Krias Shema yoitza. I don't know what Rashi is going to answer to that. But Rashi is alone on this. Everyone argues with Rashi. So what do we do? So the Tosfos is going to bring opinion on Rebbeinu Tam. The Rebbeinu Tam came up with a new invention. He said an hour and a quarter before the night, it's called Plaga Mincha, that's already night. For Krias Shema, for Tefillah, it's considered night already. Tosfos says that he doesn't hold even of the whole thing of Shach B'chav Kumecha. Because the Gemara says later that till when they daven Mincha. The Gemara says there's two opinions. One opinion is Rabbi Yehuda, till Plaga Mincha, an hour and a quarter before the night. And one opinion is Chachamim, till the actual night. The Gemara says, we don't know what the halach is. You could do like this one, you could do like, pick whatever you want. Do this way or that way. Do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. So Rebbeinu Tam says, you know what, we're going to do like Rabbi Yehuda. We daven mincha till an hour and a quarter before the night. An hour and a quarter doesn't always mean an hour and a quarter. An hour and a quarter means, in the winter, an hour and a quarter can mean 50 minutes. In summer, an hour and a quarter can mean 2 hours. It's an accordion. An hour and a quarter means, in a perfect day, in the winter and the summer, Nisan and Tishrei, there's a perfect day when the sunrise, sunset is... Right. No. I don't know if it's exactly that day. I don't know if it's that. So there is a perfect day with it. So then you have, if you split the day in 12, and you split the night into 12, every hour is going to have 60 minutes. But on other days, when the Chazal say you split the day in 12 hours, it's not from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Chazal talking from sunrise to sunset, or maybe from Alois Shachar to Tzesek Chav, whatever, one of them. But it doesn't mean 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. So 12 hours means that you take the day from sunrise to sunset and you split it into 12 pieces. So if it's a short day in the winter, like I said, every hour is going to really have 45 minutes. In the summer, you have a long day. If you're going to split it in 12 pieces, every hour can have 90 minutes. So because we have to be careful. When Chazal say an hour and a quarter, it doesn't really mean an hour and a quarter.
And this is referring to up until 1 in the morning.
So from the night, we go back from the night an hour and a quarter backwards. And if Yehuda says that till then you daven mincha, till an hour and a quarter before Tzesek Chav. After that you stop, and then you could daven ma'ariv, says Rabbeinu Tam.
Does it mean shkia?
No, and you go an hour and a quarter before shkia.
Before shkia, not before tzesek.
No, an hour and a quarter before shkia. Actually, it's a machloitis. So that's Rabbeinu Tam. The Rabbeinu Tam says we follow Rabbi Yehuda, so we go an hour and a quarter back, which is Plag Mincha. Till then we daven Mincha. After that we daven Ma'ariv. Everyone argues with the Rabbeinu Tam. All the Rishonim argue with the Rabbeinu Tam. They said, who told you such a thing? Maybe they said for davening, which is a mitzvah the Rabbanon could say, could make their own rules. If Yehuda was talking maybe about davening, Yehuda said you could daven till an hour and a quarter before the night you daven mincha. He doesn't say after that right away you daven ma'ariv. So if you want to say that he meant that right afterwards daven ma'ariv, fine. But Shema, the Eibishter said to daven Shema v'shach b'chuv kamecha when you go to sleep. So people don't go to sleep by daytime. People go to sleep by night. In those days, when it was day, people used to try to do things. It was night, when it was no electricity, he went to sleep. But no one went to sleep by daytime. They wanted to use that.
There was no daylight.
They were happy with daylight, so they use it. By night, they would sleep. By day, they were up. So how could the Rabbeinu Tam say such a thing? So they all argue with the Rabbeinu Tam.
What happened nowadays?
Problem is,
a lot of people during the day, they're up but they're sleeping. So many people.
No, aren't there areas where it's so hot you don't need it and they're going to take a nap or something?
they take a nap. But there is no such a thing, there's no place in the world that, at least now that there's electricity, it may be different. Even now it's not different, but so much. But that people should go to sleep while it's still daytime. You know, it's even kids, it's hard to put them, you know, you have little children home, you know the story. And then in the summer you put them to bed, whatever your bedtime is. We have, like, in our home, different bedtimes. We have, you know, different shifts. We have, the first shift is the three little ones, is they start heading to bed at 6 o'clock. They start brushing their teeth. By 6:30, that's it. It's over. So in the winter, it's easy. In the summer, it's daytime. The kids don't know what we want from them. So Kolchkin adults, they're not going to sleep by daytime. They go to sleep by night. Now, with electricity, even when it gets dark, we don't go to sleep yet because we still want to be up a little bit. But by daytime, no one sleeps. So the Torah says when you go to sleep, and the Mishnah says, Tzesek Chav. So that's what everyone says against the Rabbeinu Tam. L'poil, as we said before, in Europe, the Minhag Ashkenazim was that they relied on the Rabbeinu Tam. They would daven mincha before Plaga Mincha, daven ma'ariv after Plaga Mincha. There's some people that are making even more. They daven mincha might have after plug a mincha, which is strange because it's day or night. Like you have to decide what it is. You can't have it as day and night. But still, there are opinions that say you can do that too. That very small. They say that while I'm davening mincha, I pass him like chachamim. Yeah, but it doesn't. Most opinions say it doesn't make sense. You gotta. That's schizophrenic. No, because they don't daven Maida early. That's not a problem. They daven mincha to late. They also have a different calendar than us. But then 3 stars comes out much later than our 3 stars.
3 stars and 3 stars.
No, they go with a different schedule, different calendar. No, they have a very strange calendar, which you could see every star in the sky in New York City already, and they say they didn't see it the 3 stars.
Which 3 stars are they talking about?
They're talking about the 3 stars no one knows about. There's an opinion. There's an opinion also from the Rabbeinu Tam, which says that those 3 stars that Chazal are talking about come out. They say that we don't go with that opinion. We go with the opinion of most of the Goinim, which is a totally different way of you see, the sunset is very simple. Scientists will tell you exactly any location you're in the world. Tell them your where you are sitting in the world, and altitude, longitude. You tell them where you are, and they'll tell you what time, according to the horizon of the sea level, when the sunset. And maybe Chazal sunset is a few minutes off by 4 or 5 minutes, but that's basically it. Sunset is sunset. But no one's. You go tonight and Google 3 medium stars. You say you're nuts. There's billions of stars. So which medium ones are you looking for? Which are the medium? Chazal said the 3 medium stars. Which are the medium? There's billions. Everyone's a different size. Chazal say 3 medium, as if there's like 25 stars there. 12 are the big ones. And and then you got the small ones, and you got the 2, 3 medium ones. Those 3 medium ones. Those.
In astronomy, they have a thing called magnitude of the star. How bright. Okay. Now these billions of stars you talked about, it's true they exist. Most of them you can't even see. But now there's a range of magnitude in which we can see them.
Right.
So it's easy to calculate what's medium because we know the biggest stars.
Some people do know that Rambam writes is that there are istagninim, that the goydel not only there's 2 things that Rambam says you have to look. You have to look at the volume. What was the word you used? Right, and also the amount of light they give. Because some of them
the same thing.
So right. I'm just saying it's not poshut for every person to know. Sunset is sunset. Sunset is an easier thing. To be bucky, which ones we're dealing with, that you have to be more bikiyas. I'm not saying it's impossible.
So how is it that one is arbitrary and one is not arbitrary? Sunset is the same for everyone, but 3 stars is not the same for everyone.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's not, which 3 stars are we talking about? Sunset is sunset. You can see. And there's calendars today. The scientists will tell you exactly what time is sunset wherever you're standing in there. But the 3 medium stars,
it's funny that
to know which.
It's a sin, something you can see, but everyone sees something else.
So therefore, there's the way the Alter Rebbe learns, which is what we Chabad go. That's what the Chabad calendars. Shabbos goes out much earlier. The longest in a place like New York, whenever you have sunset in Chabad calendars, the longest Shabbos is not going to be more than 42 or 41 minutes after sunset. So in the Chabad calendars, if sunset is say 8 o'clock, sunset doesn't the summer. The latest sunset gets is 8 to 8:20. So 8:30. Okay, so then Shabbos, the latest Shabbos will go out on the Chabad calendar is 9:11. But they have a totally different formula. It's called a 72-minute formula. After sunset, they go 72 minutes. Right. So but that's a different discussion to what we're having now. They have a different Seisek Kechovah. So they daven mincha to very late, and then they start davening Maida very late. So the truth is, for them, it's even harder than for us. For them, it's for these Chassidish Chaver that live in Europe, it's impossible, almost impossible to keep to daven Shabbos or to daven the week that.
Is it possible that it was an accident of history? I mean, in Russia, some areas we have a white night in the summer.
No, there was a different cheshbon. No, it was.
They came from Russia, so it's
no.
nice and long.
This is an old machloikas, totally in how you read the Gemara. But we follow what the Alter Rebbe tells us to follow, which is the Geonim, and we have a certain formula. They have another formula. They have a very simple formula: sunset, and then 72 minutes later. So they daven mincha to very late, but they're not davening mincha ma'ariv at the same time. Those Belt Midrashim, they davening only mincha. Well, in the old country, the minhag was that they would daven mincha before Plaga Mincha, which is an hour and a quarter before night, and after Plaga Mincha they would daven ma'ariv. That's the shit of the Rabbeinu Tam. That Rabbeinu Tam says that from Plaga Mincha you could go like Rabbi Yehuda until Plaga Mincha is the Zman of Mincha. After Plaga Mincha is the Zman of ma'ariv. The problem is that all the other Rishonim disagree. The Shulchan Aruch paskins that that's wrong. The Shulchan Aruch says that if you happen to be in a place and there's a minyan earlier, so then you should daven with the earlier minyan, not to lose the mitzvah of a minyan. But then, when you have to wait till say Sekechavim, and then you should say Krias Shema. And until you say Krias Shema, you're not allowed to eat even. So there is another eitzah that is brought by the Taz and the Magen Avraham for those people. That they always daven ma'ariv early, that they should say at night Krias Shema Shalamita all 2 parshas or maybe 3 parshas. They should say the whole Krias Shema and have in mind the fetish that they're accepting the yoke of heaven with this Krias Shema. They should be fetish have in mind that they're accepting the yoke of heaven when they're reading Krias Shema. And then they're yotze the mitzvah, and they're allowed to even eat supper before because they're ready. Because according to the Rabbeinu Tam, there's 2 pieces of logic here. According to the Rabbeinu Tam, they already did the mitzvah of Krias Shema and davening because it was already after Plaga Mincha. So, and according to Rashi, you're allowed to rely on the fact that you're going to read Krias Shema Shalamita. And even though you're not allowed to eat before the mitzvah of Krias Shema, but Rashi seems to hold that you're allowed to. Why are you allowed to? Because perhaps there's a concept that if you have something for sure that's going to remind you to do the mitzvah, then you're allowed to eat before that mitzvah. So everyone reads Krias Shema Shalamita. Who forgets to read Krias Shema Shalamita? So that in itself is a reminder. So they say that's a pshat in Rashi. So the Velt has 2 things. So they daven. We don't do that. We get to our minute. We don't do that. We want to do it the right way. So that's why we wait for Tzei Sekechavim. But they who daven ma'ariv early, so they daven ma'ariv after Plaga Mincha. And then they eat supper. And then they read by night Krias Shema Shalamita. And they have in mind that they're Mekabel Oil Malchus Shemayim. Now, that's the eitzah that's brought in the Magen Avraham and the Taz. However, all the shuls that I was at Oven a shul in the Bronx, and the Gabbai knew, but he knew Friday night, because we used to daven ma'ariv right after Plaga Mincha.
So now when you go home,
As you go home, say the Shema.
Yeah.
Now, all the shuls are not. Why? Because I guess they want to be machmir, because for it, this is a kula to rely on Krias Shema Shalamita. The din really is, first of all, it is a magdim l'mitzvah, you have to daven, and second, you're not allowed to eat supper before you do it, so they don't rely on it, they make the announcement. Now let's go to our minhag. Our minhag is, like the Shulchan Aruch says, that really, like most of the Rishonim, that when the Eibush said of a Shamchav Kumecha, it means when people go to sleep, like the first 3 words in the Mishnah, we have to reach Shema, and therefore it's kedai to do everything by night. To do Shema, the Birchas Krias Shema, and already do Ma'ariv. Why do Ma'ariv earlier and then blah blah. So therefore, We always daven a ma'ariv only after Tzeis HaKerchavim. We always daven a ma'ariv after Tzeis HaKerchavim. That's what we do. We always daven a ma'ariv after Tzeis HaKerchavim. And we don't rely on the fact that there is an ashita that you could do it earlier, and we also don't rely on Krias Shema Shalamita. We don't rely on Krias Shema Shalamita. We always daven a ma'ariv in the right time. We always daven a ma'ariv in the right time.
But I can make kavana Krias Shema Shalamita is later on.
Huh?
Krias Shema Shalamita is 12, 1 o'clock we go to sleep. So you make kavana then, that 3 hours ago.
No. You have kavanah then that you're accepting the yoke of heaven. That you're not just reading Krias Shema with your pajamas and you're halfway asleep. You're saying it with the kavanah to accept the yoke of heaven. But us in Chabad, our minhag is to always daven ma'ariv after Tzeis HaKerchavim. We always daven ma'ariv after Tzeis HaKerchavim. So then we have no. For us, Krias Shema Shalamita is Krias Shema Shalamita. That's it. For us, Krias Shema Shalamita is Krias Shema Shalamita. It's interesting. I saw an article from the librarian in Crown Heights that in the Rebbe's Minyan they used to daven after the fast. They used to daven 25 minutes after Shkia. They used to daven ma'ariv, and obviously that was with the instructions of the Rebbe. Now, 25 minutes is no one davens so early after a fast. 25 minutes after, because even though the fast is a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, and mitzvah the fast, you could be makel that 25 minutes after Shkia is already the Tzeis HaKerchavim, the 3 Kerchavim are already out. But Lagabi, all the mitzvahs there, the Shulchan Aruch says that you have to wait not only for the Kerchavim Beinanim, the Shulchan Aruch says you have to wait for Kerchavim Ktanim, for the small. And the small stars, according to all calendars, no one says it's 25 minutes here in New York. The earliest it gets is 36 minutes. It moves between 36 and 42 minutes for the small stars to appear. So fragt sich the Shaila, how did the Rebbe allow that in 770 after fast they should have 25 minutes after Shkia? So the person who's writing it, Rabbi Levin, is a Moededik Talmid Chochem. So he says no, because we read every night that if you look in the Alter Rebbe Siddur, we read Shema, Shema, Vayim Shemoyim, Vayomer. Why did the Alter Rebbe write to say Vayomer? The Gemara says only to say Shema, Vayim Shemoyim. So it must be the Alter Rebbe said to say it because that's an extra protection. That now we're really, with this, we're being yoytze the mitzvah of Shema. So we're covered already. We're saying Krias Shema Shalamita, and obviously all the Baviches have in mind when they're saying Krias Shema Shalamita to accept Eil Malchus Shemayim, because the Alter Rebbe put in the 3 parshas. Why else would he put it? So therefore, it's not so bad to daven ma'ariv a little earlier because it's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. And for a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, it's not that bad. Anyway, the Rebbe used to daven Mincha 3:15 before Plaga Mincha. So obviously the Rebbe didn't go with, at least on a fast day, with the opinion of Rabbanan, the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. So he davened before. So after Plaga Mincha, you can read daven ma'ariv. That's Rabbi Levin's pshat. Ad kind of Rabbi Levin's pshat. To me, abundantly clear that it's so wrong that there isn't even. It's like Rabbi. Like we said before, the Eidav in Crown Heights, it's not a apostle Eidav, it's not an Eidav. It's not a wrong pshat, but it's not a pshat. It's not true. First of all the Rishonim say that the mitzvah of there's a mitzvah to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim by day and once by night. But the Rebbeinu Yonah says that you don't have to say it mamish by night. You can mention Yetzias Mitzrayim by Plaga Mincha is also good, because it doesn't say you have to talk about Yetzias Mitzrayim by night. It says Man Tizkas Yom Tzeischem Eretzayim Kol Yemei Chayecha Hayom Kol Yemei Chayecha Aleilas, but it doesn't say Baleilas. So he says that everyone agrees that from an hour and a quarter before the night you're already yoytze the mitzvah. So if you daven with a minyan and then you come home and you want to say Shema, you only have to say Shema V'Hayim Shemoya. That's what he says. So why would the Alter Rebbe put 3 parshas? The reason the Alter Rebbe put 3 parshas is a different reason altogether. It's a different reason altogether. The Gemara says 2 reasons why we say Krias Shema Shalamita. One reason is in order to fall asleep with Divrei Torah, and therefore Talmid Chacham don't have to read Shema. And a different reason is to protect ourselves from the mazik. And it said one of the Achronim say That's why the Rambam and the Rif doesn't say Talmid Chacham gets a discount. They say also Talmid Chacham has to read Krias Shema by night. Why? Because they hold it because everyone needs protection from the Mazikim. Who cares Talmid Chacham, not Talmid Chacham? Everyone needs protection from Mazikim. Furthermore, Chachamim say even women are chayefit because protected from Mazikim. So women also are protected from Mazikim. So now there's a beautiful marshal that's brought in the Bach. The marshal says that if you want to be really protected from the Mazikim, you should say also Vayomer. Why? Because there's a medrash in Megillas Ruz that the Krias Shema has 248 oisius. And every one of the Evodim, we have 248 Evodim. Every Evod takes one of the oisius and gets healed from that ois. That's why if you daven b'yechidus, you say again Hashem Elokeichem Emes, because it's really missing 3 words. So in order to have 248 words to protect and to heal the 248 Evodim, we say again Hashem Elokeichem Emes if we're davening b'yechidus. And if we're davening b'minyan, we stop and we listen to the Chazan and then the Shemei K'oinam. So says the Mashal that the same thing applies for Krias Shema Shalamita. We want to protect ourselves, our Evodim, so therefore you should also add the Pasha Vayomer. Now I understand why the Alter Rebbe said to add Vayomer. Otherwise, how could the Alter Rebbe go against the Gemara? The Gemara says to say Shema v'ad v'hoyim shemoya. Machloikis means ad v'ad b'chlal, ad v'loid b'chlal. Does it mean only Shema v'hoyim shemoya? But the Gemara never said to say Vayomer. The Alter Rebbe is smarter than the Gemara. How can you be more frum than the Gemara? The Alter Rebbe is not being more frum than the Gemara. The Gemara is talking about if you want to fall asleep with Divrei Torah. So he said these two pashas. But if you want to be protected from the Mazikim, then you should say also Vayomer, and you should say Hashem Elokeichem Emes. And there's a letter from the Rebbe. The Rebbe was asked if you're supposed to repeat by night Hashem Elokeichem Emes. The Rebbe says like this. He heard a clear probably from the Frierdiker Rebbe, that when you say Krias Shema K'tana in the morning, Chabad, we all say Krias Shema in the morning. First thing, because maybe we're going to miss the Zman of Krias Shema. So first thing in the morning we say Krias Shema. So that called Krias Shema K'tana. So the minhag, the roy is that then you should say again Hashem Elokeichem Emes. Why should you say again Hashem Elokeichem Emes? Poshet. The Rebbe doesn't tell. Because that might be the mitzvah of Krias Shema. So, and by the mitzvah of Krias Shema, you're supposed to have Ramach Oisis, 248 Oisis, therefore we repeat it. When we say Shema in the morning by davening, by Rabbeinu Tam we don't. We don't say why. The Rebbe doesn't say why. Just pashtus. By Rabbeinu Tam, the reason we're saying Shema is not because we have some suffix. It's some shit of Rabbeinu Tam. It's because when we put another period film, we're just not start wrapping on a period film and then doing what? We don't wear it all day, so therefore we want to learn Divrei Torah. We want to learn Divrei Torah. So what should you learn? The best thing, just like when you fall asleep, the Shtakei Mitzvah Divrei Torah is Shema v'Yom Shemaya. So what are you going to learn? Shema v'Yom Shemaya. Anyway, these are the pashas in the Tefillin. So the Alter Rebbe said, Shema v'Yom Shemaya v'Yom and v'Ydaber, which is all the pashas in the Tefillin. That's a din of learning Torah. It's not a din of saying Krias Shema. So therefore, what's the point of saying again Hashem Elokeichem Emes? This is my pshat. It's obvious. It's not. But anyway, that's what the Rebbe says. In the morning, when we say Shema Krias Shema K'tana, you say again Hashem Elokeichem Emes. When you say Rabbeinu Tam, you don't say Hashem Elokeichem Emes. You're just learning Torah. Agav Urcha, someone asked me the other day if you're saying Shema in Rabbeinu Tam and there's someone saying Kaddish, are you allowed to answer? I think it's Pasha you're allowed to answer. You're learning Torah now. It's not the din of Krias Shema, the regular dins of Krias Shema, where there's a shayla where you're allowed to be mafsik and not allowed to be. You're learning Torah. You're learning Torah. You can make a hefsek for a davish b'kedusha. Now the Rebbe continues in the letter. He says, "How about Krias Shema shalamita? Davar baruch loy shamati, but k'mdumani that the minhag anash is to say it again. K'mdumani the minhag anash is to say it again. So why is it that the Krias Shema shalamita is not exactly like the Krias Shema K'tana? It's the same thing. But as I'm telling you, it's not the same thing. Krias Shema Shalamita, the reason we say 3 parshas is not to be yoitz the mitzvah just in case we daven early. We never daven early. Chabad, we always daven after Tzeis HaKechavim to be choshesh for most of the Rishonim that say that that's when you have to read Shema. The reason we say Krias Shema Shalamita is for the Mazikim. And therefore the Alter Rebbe put in 3 parshas. Because then you could say again Hashem Elokeichem Emes, and you do have 248 words to protect your 248 Evonim. So therefore, I think it's for sure that Chabad we're not yoytze the mitzvah from saying by night. Furthermore, the Alter Rebbe brings in Shulchan Aruch that a person that always davens medayik davamayim his mama tzayis kachavim, but Shabbos, because the whole kehila accepts Shabbos early, so he also accepts Shabbos early and davens mayim with the whole kehila. They come home, they can make kiddush, no problem. Why? Because they're going to say later Krishma Shalamita, and for sure they're always Machav and Krishma Shalamita. They should also cover them. They should Makabel El Malchus Shamayim. So therefore they can make Kiddush. But a person that only does it once a week is also to make Kiddush. If it's a half hour before it says Zakechavim, it's also a half hour before it says Zakechavim, you're not allowed to eat until you're going to say Krishma. So if you say you're a Shliach, or I was living in Co-op City, right? So if I came home and it's already a half hour to Tzei Sekachavim, those people, my congregants, they can make Kiddush right away. I can't make Kiddush. Why? Because to me, the Alter Rebbe says, because you're always medayik to read Shema by Tzei Sekachavim, so obviously by night when you're saying Krishma Shalamita, you're only saying it for Mazikim. You're not saying it to do the mitzvah to be Mekabel El Malchus Shamayim. And just saying words is not the mitzvah. So when I'm going to say, so I might forget later to say Krishma. So therefore I'm not allowed to eat from a half hour before it says Sekachavim, and not allowed to, until I make Kiddush. This way, until I read Krishma, and then I'm going to say Krishma, and then I can make Kiddush. That's what the Alter Rebbe says in Kuntres Achir and Simareish Samach Zayin. So it's clear that the Minhag Chabad is not to rely on the Krishma Shalamita. Krishma Shalamita, we're very careful about it, because Zoya says we have to be more than Chushban Achsidim understood that a good day starts with a good Krishma Shalamita, but that's not the mitzvah of Shema. That's not the mitzvah Shema. So back to why did the Rebbe allow in 770 that they should daven ma'ariv after a fast, say about 25 minutes after Shkia. So the answer is for a different reason, because Shulchan Aruch says you have to wait to say Shema until there's small stars, because Einan Bekim, we don't know, we're not booked. But today in the United States of America we have the Alter Rebbe's Tshuva, and it's very easy to compute what is the Zman of Shlosh Kachavim Beinanim, which is about 25 minutes after Shkia. So the Rebbe relied, if people are fasting, so the Rebbe relied that, you know what? Taka the Shulchan Aruch says that we shouldn't rely on Kachavim Beinanim. We should wait. The Shulchan Aruch is talking about a Yid Nashtetl who didn't do nothing. He looked up for the stars. So for that Yid, Shema should wait for Kachavim Ktanim. But for us, that we have the Alter Rebbe's Tshuva exactly how to compute it, and we have sophisticated v'chulu cheshbonos of when the sun sets v'chulu, and we could cheshbon in New York. It's about not more than 25 minutes after there's Shkia, sunset, and then we have 20 minutes about later is about when the so therefore the Rebbe allowed, at least in the fast days, to rely on that. But not that we're relying on Krishma Shalamita. Krishma Shalamita is a different thing. We don't paskin like Rashi. No one paskins like Rashi. The only people that paskin like Rashi is the Velt that are not, they're Mekel, and they daven ma'ariv before Tzei Sekachavim. So it's a problem because it's against the Mishnah. So they're trying to hold on to whatever they could. So one thing would go like the Rabbeinu Tam. The Rabbeinu Tam says you could already say Shema from an hour and a quarter before the night. And also we're relying on Rashi. And also befedish we're having kavanah when we say Shema. That's not just for the mazikim. That we're Mekabel El Malchus Shamayim. So altogether, all these little nish gefährlich. We made it into the door. But Chabad, we don't go that way.
So that means that Shas HaTchak, you'd be allowed to say Krias Shema 25 minutes after there's some reason, strong reason for it.
Right. If according to his pshat, a shul, a Lubavitch shul, which davens mincha in the fast day after Plaga mincha, is not allowed to daven ma'ariv 25 minutes later. It's only in 770 that daven 3:15. But I think that's absolutely wrong. The Krishma Shalamita is a different thing. We never rely on Krishma Shalamita. Krishma Shalamita we say with kavana to make a cheshbon and nefesh and to protect us from mazikim. And the reason that Rebbe allowed the Shadav this is because we could sometimes be makel to say that we know what the 3 medium stars is. But Taka, usually when it's not hard, we're not fasting, we should wait a little later. But that's why the calendars that they show you, the Zman Krishma, the Lubavitch calendars, you'll see after sunset, it's not 25 minutes. They'll tell you to read Shema, depending on the time of the year, 36, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42. That's
25 minutes also then should vary in different parts of the year.
Sure. They should.
You read the Daven differently in different times, like or Asara B'Tevis or Shavasar.
Probably it was different.
Same thing.
I think 25 is an average, because the least it'll be is 20, because that's the least it can't be less than 20. Because New York is similar to Eretz Yisrael. That's what the Alter Rebbe says. It's 20 minutes in Eretz Yisrael on the shortest day.
Probably there are very few people who
Astronomically, it doesn't work that way.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
Astronomically, the way it works is that the closer you come to the equator, the shorter the time is between Shkia and Singapore.
So who said differently?
Huh?
Who said differently?
No, you just said Eretz Yisrael. It's identical to New York.
It's not identical. It's off by a few minutes. It's not that far off. It's not identical. It's not identical.